Hello, one and all, and welcome to the Brewing Labs. Now, sorry for a little bit late of an episode and such. I was kind of having a sorry, a little cough there. Essentially, I was having a bit of a mental recovery week. I just got started back from work and such, so I'm just kind of like adapting my schedule and such. I thought I would be able to adapt and such and be able to do more streaming and such. Kind of tired myself out, so I did have to take a little bit of a break. Plus, a lot of current event stuff happening, especially within Magic the Gathering, so I'll probably make some opinion videos specifically about the ban list. If you want me to talk about that, you can just mention it in the comments. But mostly my specialty is within the jank brewing, and this list is a little bit weird. Now, I am going to make a caution to be very, very cautious about this list because technically it does contain the companion Yorion, and there is a slight statistical chance that Yorion might be banned on Monday. It is definitely one that's been speculated on. Unless if Companion does get through a really ridiculous design overhaul, I could actually see it as being a very likely chance along with Winota. Hopefully Agent of Treachery, hopefully Teferi, we'll see. Nevertheless, though, with that caution out of the way, I decided to actually take the Yorion deck and the Fires of Invention deck and just do kind of a twist to it that's not, hey, I'm going to cheap out Agent of Treachery, because boy, are we are probably sick of being Agent of Treachery being cheated out on us. Just a little bit. Just a teeny little bit. Okay, solid aside. Here's the actual deck, what we're doing here. What we're doing here is kind of a weird constellation-y counter-based brew is the best way I could phrase it. Basically, here's how the deck works. It is technically a combination of Jund Sack and slightly the slight benefit synergy of Yorion with Fires of Invention. Let's go through the deck. Essentially, we have Yorion Sky Nomad as our companion. So, for it to be our companion, we have to have 80 cards in our deck. Which a lot of people thought at first, even I thought at first, this was probably the worst companion. Turns out to be one of the best because mostly what we didn't realize is due to the... sorry about that, mouse went a little bloop. Due to the really good draw engines and just overall value of current standard, it turns out you can just stuff 80 cards of just a really generic value list or just do a really good game plan and actually go pretty well with the list. And that's what we're doing here. So we definitely are going to take advantage of the ETB, which is in this case when it enters the battlefield, exile any number of non-land permanents you own, and control return those cards to the battlefield at the beginning of the next end step. Of course, the combo that everybody remembers is the one with Fires of Invention, where the basic combo is you bounce a lot of Omens, or a lot of powerful ETB effects, and Fires of Invention for free, thanks pretty much Yorion for free, thanks to Fires of Invention, and still have the excess mana to spend, because technically Fires of Invention is not on the battlefield, etc. So yeah, we do have that basic combo in the deck. However, what we're kind of flickering is kind of weird. Because we're flickering not like... We do have the Omen of the Forge, but we're actually flickering, of all things, Trail Crumbs. Because Trail Crumbs, yeah, it's not the most amazing ETB effect, like getting a food token. Exciting. Not that exciting. But the thing is, we do have that excess mana thanks to the Yorion combo, which then allows us to actually eat the food and do the sacrifice trigger of this card, which is tutoring from the top 2 cards of our deck, for a permanent, which is very, very, very powerful. Can't really be underestimated that. So that's kind of how I went into kind of like making the pretty much combination to the Jund Sack archetype. So we do have the usual suspects of there. We have the Cauldron Familiar, we have the Goose, we have the Witch's Oven, and then Trail Crumbs, of course. We also put Birth of Meletus in here, just as another permanent to essentially... One little note about sagas and sack-style decks, like with cards like Corvold, which yes, we have a one of Corvold in the list. Since you technically sack sagas, it does actually trigger Corvold, which is actually a nice little synergy here. We also put Krota in the list, because it's a good way to something to sack to the Witch's Oven. Plus, also, there is a combo with a later card that we'll talk about in a minute. Well, actually, 2 cards specifically, but we'll get to it. And then... You probably are wondering then, why the heck are we doing this whole set of shenanigans just to do like Cauldron Familiar, bounce shenanigans, yada 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 with Yorion? What's the point? Well, the point is we're actually brewing around one specific card that's kind of like a 2-card combo that I kind of made a discovery of, which is Heliod Suncrown. Now, of course, this combo is simple. When you gain life, you put a counter on a creature you control. So, whenever we do the Cauldron Familiar Cat Dance, that actually allows us to put additional counters on creatures we control, which is very powerful for this deck because we are running 2 of the Ozlith, which then is a way to help us keep creatures with kind of, in a semi way, help us protect against board wipes and such, because if we have a creature with a lot of counters on it, when it dies, all those counters will go straight to the Ozlith, and thanks to the versatility of the cat being able to come back at any time, especially at the end of the opponent's end step, there are just sometimes one of the ways you can win with this game is just either making a ridiculously big Yorion or a ridiculously big Cauldron Familiar. So, we're definitely brewing around that stake. I definitely say one of the jankier things you could put in this deck is Crystalline Giant, which I tested it a little bit, and I was like, I would say if you're doing definitely more of the jank variation, I would definitely throw in a couple of Crystal Giants, because it's kind of funny to try to put additional ability counters with the Ozlith, like, that's a no-brainer. But I feel like just being able to make a really, really big creature should, as the phrase goes, get the job done. We also have Cetacean Champion in here as the same way to get additional counters, plus also card draw, since we're running a lot of enchantments in this list. And by the way, when we flicker all of them with Yorion, that's going to give us a ton of card draw. Like, the amount of card draw you can get with this is really nice. We also are running 2 Lurrus the Dream Den, just because, we have a lot of low-cost permanents that actually can be recast thanks to Lurrus, especially if they get destroyed, or if we sack them for methods, so being able to replay these is nice. We also have Elspeth Nightmare, just a really good saga removal spell, / also hand haste, / also exile target opponent's graveyard, which is very relevant, especially with all the cycling matter decks you see in the meta. And then we have Omen of the Hunt, just another way to get us our 4th color in the deck. We also have Mothra Supersonic Queen, aka Luminous Broodmoth, mostly because its combos everywhere with the cat, being able to get the flying counter, and hey, by the way, we can actually make a really big flying cat. Just word of thought there. But also, it's synergized with stuff like Kroxa, Titans of Death Hunger, which, everybody knows a combo of this. If you don't, essentially what you can do is you have Luminous Broodmouth on the battlefield, you play Kroxa, Kroxa dies. Since it doesn't have flying, it will come back in, then it will die again, essentially triggering the ETB effect 2 times, which is very powerful. Plus, it also combos with Lurrus, being able to recast it from the graveyard, and being able to easily hate out the opponent's hand. Fires of Invention, many people know this card, allows us to cast at least 2 spells for free each turn, equal to the total. Pretty much, when you may cast spells with converted mana costs less than or equal to the number of lands you control without paying their mana cost. A very powerful card. There's a really slight statistical chance this might get banned on Monday. I'm a little bit sad if that's the case, but there's a chance. Then we have Corval, just a really good late game threat. Good, late game card draw engine as well. Just a nice threat. Elspeth Conquers Death. We all seen this. Very powerful card. Flickering with Yorion is absurd. I'm almost debating putting a 3rd one in, but I took it out to actually put in 1 Ruinous Ultimatum. Mostly because we have enough ramp in the deck to be able to get to this relatively easily, and just being able to, in some of the more greedier matchups, just being able to remove the opponent's entire board state, can sometimes just help you win the game like that. Plus it helps remove all the blockers, which then can help you attack in with a giant cat. So that is the basic deck. The land count is 4 plains, 1 swamp, 1 mountain, 1 forest, 4 godless shrines, 4 overgrown tombs, 4 sacred foundries, 4 temple gardens. We're trying to test here. Usually with triomes, I only like to put 3 to 4 in there, but I'm actually trying to put 8 in here since we're going 4 colors, and a lot of people have been saying that you try to put in as many triomes as you can because of the cycling. It's my test for this deck, so I'm going to put that in, plus any excuse to use these arts, I'm not going to mind. And 4 Fabled Passage to help us just cycle and help us to filter our deck. As for our sideboard, pretty simple. We have 3 Agonizing Remorse, 3 Cinder Vines, 3 Banishing Light, 2 Mythos of Nephroid, which we can use thanks to the aspect of the factor that we are splashing in the green, so this could be unconditional removal. And if we need an additional board wipe in the deck, we have Realm Cloak Giant in the side, which then can be fished out thanks to Trail Crumbs, and just, a board wipe that can become a 7/7 giant with Vigilance is really, really nice. Plus also nice to put a bunch of counters on, just for the record. So, that is the deck. Like I said, This is one of my more jankier brews. I'm not going to promise perfect games with it, but there's definitely some silly shenanigans you can do with the deck. I'm going to say that right off the bat. Nevertheless, our first opponent is Arcanel. So, let's see here. We actually got a pretty decent hand. We got Ozlip, we got Goose, we got Luris. We could even do a turn 2 Luris if we want to. Or even a turn 2 Cetacean Champion, which I think that might be the gameplay, especially if we draw into any of our enchantments like Trail Crumbs or Omen. So, I think I'm going to do that. Play over a Tomb. We're going to play the Goose, honky honky honk, and get ourselves a little food token. I am so tempted to pick up the Secret Lair Bird Edition just to get the kill the goose art. Which is a weird thing to say. Anyway, we definitely got a choice here. It looks like they're playing Control, so there might be an option where actually it's better to play Kroxa at the moment. Just to quote-unquote try to fish out cards from their hand, especially that. However, they also might be running Counter Magic, so I think it's actually better to play the Cetacean Champion out now, because even if we get an Omen, we can at least get the card draw, or food, or pretty much Trail Crumbs. And the thing is, once they get to, like, turn 4 and such, they have board wipe. So it's better to get this out early and try to get this as big as it can before it gets statistically board wiped by Shadow in the Sky, if we're being honest. So, here, I think the play is pretty simple. We're just going to do that. We're going to play the Ozlip out just to get it out. And then we're going to hold up either creating a food token with Gilded Goose or cast Omen of the Forge. Now, chances are here they're probably going to play Teferi, if I have to make a logical guess. No, Ophiuchia. Okay, what are they going to do? Okay, perfect. That actually is perfect for us, because then we can Omen of the Forge, just deal 2 damage to their face. Make this big enough that it doesn't get killed by the Ophiuchia. That's actually perfect. So, now after that, we do have choices here. I think I'm going to go with the choice here and playing the Kroxa here. That way, then we just get a card out of their hand. We incentivize them to try to use the board wipe if they want to. They probably won't, but it has a choice at the very least. I'm not debating whether or not if I want to play the cat. We probably should have just played this untap and just hold up the ability to make food, if I'm now being honest, upon post-reflection. That way, then, I would have access to 5 mana without a sweat to be able to play Luris and Kroxa again from the graveyard. You live, you learn. Plus, we can probably just use it now to try to fish out a board wipe with them, which could be, in this case, a Shatter the Sky, if I have to make a logical guess. But even if they play a Shatter the Sky, then we can just play Luris and then play a Goose, if we're being honest. Okay, they're just more building up their board state. Okay. Well, that's the second Ozlip. That's not really what I want to see, but hey, it happens. So, in this case, we're just going to attack with both these creatures. I'm going to see what they do here. They're just going to block. We're going to jump in for little points of damage. I'm going to hold on to the Luris because there is just a possibility that they are pretty much waiting to do a board wipe. They might also do an Elspeth Conquer step. Yep, saw that one coming a mile away. They're going to do it on the Cetacean Champion. We're just going to create a food then because, well, yeah. On the bright side, though, like I said before, we do get a counter on the Ozlip, so it's not total value loss, which is always nice. So, anyway, I think the play here is... Let's see. Can we play Luris without... Yeah, we can. So, we're going to play the Luris. And of course they tapped it where I couldn't actually... Well, it's not the end of the world. We're actually going to play the Vertical Elitist. Get a Plains. Play the Plains. I'm going to put the counter on the cat. Not swing in since they have 2 walls. Do they have any permanents? Not any significant threat permanents. But there's an Ophiuchia, which is a little annoying. Not going to lie. 2 cards in the graveyard. The only thing I'm thinking about here is if we have an incentive to cast Yorion. Not really. Honestly, the only incentive for Yorion at the moment would just be to bounce the cat, bounce the omen and such, which really, there's better plays we can do. So I think it's better to actually cycle this land here, see if we can get into play. That's a Trail of Crumbs, which we can play soon. Not now, but soon. So we're just probably going to be creating food and such. Okay, there are 4 colors, eh? Okay. So I'm guessing kind of like a Super Frenzy kind of list. Could also be kind of like an enchantment control list. That's also a possibility as well. So we're going to gain the 2 life. Very nice. Then we're going to play our Trail of Crumbs. And do one of my little favorite things that I like to do with the Trail of Crumbs for anyone who plays Jund Sack. Always be able to just get a little bit of mana, but use that mana automatically to tutor for a permanent, which we're going to do that. Oh, and there is the fires. Perfect. So we're going to get fires. We're going to play the fires. And, well, like I said, not really any purpose to Elspeth Conquer Step 2, probably on that. A little annoying, but understandable. So yeah, this smells like a 4-color Doom Foretold list. Like, you see the Golden Egg, you see Oath, you see Elspeth Conquers Death. Like, it smells like it, is what I'm saying. So, we're going to create just another mana, try to dig for Steph. And there's Mothra. 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 Do you want Mothra? I think we don't want Mothra yet. I think we want Trail of Crumbs again, if I'm being honest. Weirdly enough. Because then we can play this tap. They're still playing on the defensive. Mostly I'm thinking because if they're a Doom Foretold list, it's better that we get the additional Trail Crumbs on there. So if we have to sacrifice something, then we can just sacrifice the additional Trail Crumbs, or even potentially the Ozolith, since we have an Ozolith in hand. So that's a possibility as well. Well, there's Teferi, as we predicted. Okay. Thank you. We're going to get some food, we're going to get some life, and then dig for some cards in our hand. Ba-doo. There's the fires. And there's an Alcea. We are going to take that.
This isn't a fight you can win.
What are they going to bounce? Okay, golden.
Might be a bad idea.
Not the golden egg. Oh, Elspeth Conquers Death, probably just to hit our Fires of Invention, which makes perfect sense for our opponent. So yeah, we really don't have an incentive to... Yeah, I think it's just, simply put, we're going to play the Alcid. 1, 2, 3, 6. So yeah, best not to actually play fires at the moment due to, well, shenanigans. So what I think I might do here is just create a food token. Pass the turn. That way we can save both options to essentially sacrifice for food, dig into our deck a little bit more, but also as well just be able to sacrifice with Alcid and such to protect one of our permanents if they do a targeted removal spell. That is the one benefit at the current moment with this, is that we don't really have to worry about the opponents doing this because, well, all of our permanents currently at the moment, as you can tell, is less than 3, which just only targets things that are 3 or greater, so... Until we play Yorion and such, we just have to keep in mind that this card is in their hand. Actually, what would be perfect is if we draw an Elspeth's Nightmare, honestly.
I've got it.
That would actually be a case of the lovely. But we shall see. So yeah, they're not going to play anything. We're just then going to sacrifice the food, get some more life, and then look into our deck a little bit more. Okay. I'll take a birth. And we will take what we were looking for, the Witch's Oven. That is a case of what we call perfect. So, then what we're going to do is we're going to play this, we're going to play this, hope it doesn't get countered. Chances are it's going to get countered. No, it doesn't get countered. Fascinating. Okay, so then in that case, what we're going to do is a little bit, What to do. Well, first we're going to sacrifice this to get a swamp. There we go, swamp. That way we can have Crota online later. But for now, I think the play here is actually sacrifice the Cauldron Familiar. That puts a counter on this, which then allows us to then begin combat, put the counter on the Goose, and just swing a little bit at Teferi to keep it in check. Okay, they're going to Teferi Time Twist. That's a little bit annoying. So they're going to do that to obviously then... Well, on the bright side, we still have the opportunity to attack. Which are we going to do without a Sweateroo? We're going to do... Actually, we're going to do that. Then I'm going to sacrifice this. Give it protection from black or white. We'll just say black or white, essentially. Black in this case, because then when Ophikia comes back, then they can't target this, which is actually kind of a cute little thing we just did there. I'm not going to lie. Okay, I do have to admit, it's kind of cool to see this opponent doing the Teferi Time Twist shenanigans. I'm not going to lie. So then that happens. So then we're just going to play the Birth of Meltis, because we now have at least one or two more planes in the deck. Okay, so yeah, we can just do this simple. We can play Birth of Meltis. Just get all of our planes out of our deck. Then we could just save Returning the Cat at the end of their turn. They're going to draw a card. And then deal 3 damage, probably to our face. Yep, to our face. Okay, this might be a case of a one-match video, because this match has taken a while. Still a pretty engaging match, I'm not gonna lie.
Trust me, I have a plan.
Okay. So, then we're gonna sacrifice the food. Activate both triggers again. We'll go get another Outset of Life's Bounty. There we go. Now I want to bring back Moffer without a sweat. So yeah, then we get the trigger. But we do also have to be cautious because, well, Elspeth Conquers Death is in their hands, so... Yeah, well, we do have the Alcid to actually play it and then protect it, presuming they don't have a board wipe in hand. So yeah, we're gonna create some walls. So yeah, I think that's the play here, actually. Or... Actually... Nah, that's too cute. At the moment, at the very least. So yeah, I think the play here is play the Outset of Life's Bounty. Play Moffer. Swing in at the ferry to keep it in check. Yeah, we're going to get dealt some damage. We don't mind. It's better to have that in check than rather having the opponent being able to bounce it. Bounce their stuff.
I won't let you win.
And we could play fires here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nah, not yet. Actually, I would rather do it when we have 5 mana. That way, then they're probably gonna play Elspeth Conquer's Death. Probably on the Mothra, if I have to make a guess. Yep. We're gonna see what they target. Yep, they're gonna target that. We're going to sacrifice, which perfect being about the sacrifice trigger. It returns back with a flying counter. Yay! So then we're gonna give it protection from white. Resolve. Oh, and then there's Teferi. Which is good, because, hey, the best thing about Teferi is the factor is they still can't bounce the Mothra. They're probably gonna bounce still the Alciad, if I have to make a guess. Well, no, they can't even... Well, no, yeah, they can... Oh, okay, they bounced their egg. Okay. For card draw, that makes sense. I'm always wondering if I should put egg in this list, especially with the food-based synergies now coming to think of it. Well, it's a food for thought. Anyway, our opponent is going to pass the turn. We're just going to do the cat dance because the cat's then going to have flying. Which is fun. And then we're just going to sacrifice the food. We'll only activate this once, but we're at currently a good enough board state that that might just be fine. So we're going to activate once. We'll go get the mountain. Both sagas are going to be sacked. We get some life, which is awesome. And then... Yeah, I think it's safe to say it's now time to... Well, do we want to wait till... Nah, actually this is probably the best time to do this, so... We're going to play Yorion now. Bounce, 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 bounce. Then both flying counters are going to go on this, which, that's alright. You're probably wondering why I didn't play the Omen of the Forge. Just wait. So then now we can put it on a wall and make a flying wall, because, why not? Then we're going to attack 1 into Teferi, 3 at the opponent. Yeah, we're dealt some damage, we don't mind.
It's only a matter of time.
And then everything comes back. We're going to deal 2 damage to the opponent's face. Mostly the reason why I didn't decide to play the second Element of the Forge is because I still want to be able to sacrifice food and just dig into our deck a little bit more. Or just play the Element of the Forge as a response if we need to. Slash also be able to save mana for Alciad, etc., etc., etc. The Akroan War. Okay, what are they going to target? Mothra? Okay, protection from red. And yet again, it still comes back because... I'm going to admit, Alciad was a last-minute addition to the deck when I was tweaking it, but I am now starting to realize that this was a perfect... Okay, what are you going to target, opponent? Okay. Well, yet again. Protection from red. Like I said, Alciad was kind of a last-minute addition to the deck, because I thought it would just be good for additional card draw and such with Cetacean Champion. I forgot about the synergy with it with Mothra. That is actually legit accidental, but awesomely accidental. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, we gotta now be careful when we attack because the last step of this does do a board wipe. So we gotta be cautious. There's the Elspeth Conquer step we wanted so badly. So yeah, and we're just gonna sacrifice the cat because we can. Get the cat flying, because why not? Fly, my little kitty! Fly! So yeah, so now we're gonna play Elspeth Conquer Step. Realistically, we're going to Elspeth Conquer Step there, Elspeth Conquer Step, so they can't return to Fairy. And then... we're just going to target another wall, because why not? Let's make a bunch of flying walls. Flying walls! And then boop, 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 boop. And then I'm going to, well, yeah, we can play the other cat for now. Because then we can just do the cat dance, so. So yeah, we do have to attack with everything that's combat available, so we gotta keep that in mind. Ah, that's the reason. So it's super frenzy.
Regrets of the dead are the sweetest ingredient.
Sure. We'll just exile land, because why not?
Surrender every morsel of fear.
We'll sacrifice the Cauldron Familia that has flying, get the flying counter on this. Then we're going to bring it back. Mostly what we're trying to dig here now is we're trying to dig for Luris. Enough a Triumph could work. Sure, we'll take Failed Passage just to filter our lands a little bit. Though I do think we may have got all of our basics. We probably still have 1 or 2 forests in the deck, if I recall correctly. Yep, so Failed Passage is not a good card to play at the moment. So what we're going to do here is 1, 2, 3, cycle with Indafa Triumph. No Luris yet. Darn. Well, we are going to still have to attack with this, so... you know what? Let's actually just play it now. We can just, we are not wanting to bring back the sagas, so we can definitely toss those. Toss the land. Oh yeah, the first Luris, we still only have 1 more Luris in the library. That's probably why we're having a hard time getting it. So then now we force the opponent to lose some life. Then we're going to play this out. Let's give a cat flying. So then now we have to attack with everybody. I'm going to attack the opponent because they're going to block with the walls. Makes sense. And yeah, you know what? Let's sacrifice with that. Let's sacrifice with Croton. Raise it back. They're going to lose some more line. Pass a turn. Cats die. We don't mind. We have food to bring them back. Or even we don't have to worry about that because they come back with the flight. I forgot about that. Okay, that's awesome. Okay. Though the 2 times trigger on that was kind of stinky. Not gonna lie. And then we're just gonna bring back a cat. Because we pretty much got this game. Setesting Champion, why not?
My kin are delightfully friendly.
And that would have been a problem if we did not have Luris. Plus that. Play Krotza. Good game, opponent. That was a really good game. Wow. So yeah, that actually shows off the deck pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. Usually I would save another match, but due to time constraints for the video, we're probably going to have to save it at that, but it did show off all what the deck wanted to do besides the core vault, so I think that's what they say, a job well done. Anyway, I hope you all have a lovely night. I hope you enjoyed the shenanigans of what I like to call Sack Chance. Honestly, I should probably think of a better name. I originally called it 4-color Sack, but Sack Chance actually just was fun, or maybe Enchanted Mafra or some shtick like that. I'll probably have a different name on the Averhub if I'm being legit honest. Nevertheless, I hope you all have a lovely day. If you want to try this deck out before the potential bannings on Monday and you have the cards, give it a go. But we'll see. Nevertheless, this is LevDeath, signing out. What do you do?